Namaste, a very warm welcome once again to everybody. Indeed, a pleasure to be along with all of you today in this wonderful satsang. And at the very beginning, at the very outset, a very, very happy Navaratri to all of you and your family. Today is the 5th day of Navaratri, and Navaratri being the time of Devi, it's a lot of energy and a lot of action. So that's why somehow out of an inner inspiration, I chose this topic on the miracle of action. So I would like to begin today's proceedings with a prayer. So keeping our microphones on mute, you can join in silently or chant aloud the simple opening prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let's chant the Gayatri of a few forms of the Divine Mother for invoking her blessings. Om Katyayanaya Vidmahe Kanyakumaryai cha Dhimahi Tanno Durgi Prachodayat. Om Mahashunyaya Vidmahe Mahadurgayai Dhimahi Tanno Bhagavati Prachodayat. Om Girijaya cha Vidmahe Shivapriyaya cha Dhimahi Tanno Uma Prachodayat. Om Vagdevyai cha Vidmahe Brahmapatni cha Dhimahi Tanno Saraswati Prachodayat. Om Mahadevyai cha Vidmahe Vishnupatni cha Dhimahi Tanno Lakshmi Prachodayat. Om Sarva Sammohinyai Vidmahe Vishwajanyai cha Dhimahi Tanno Shakti Prachodayat. Om Bhagavatयै cha Vidmahe Maheshwaryai cha Dhimahi Tanno Annapurna Prachodayat. Om Kalikayai cha Vidmahe Smashana Nivasyai Dhimahi Tanno Ghora Prachodayat. वृषभानुजाय विद्महे कृष्णप्रियाय धीमहि तन्नो राधा प्रचोदयात्। ॐ जनकनन्दिन्यै विद्महे भूमिजयै धीमहि तन्नो सीता प्रचोदयात्। ॐ तुलसीदेव्यै च विद्महे विष्णुप्रियायै च धीमहि तन्नो वृन्दा प्रचोदयात्। Invoking the blessings of the Divine Mother, Adi Parashakti, I would also like to invoke the grace and the blessings of the lineage of the wise ones, right from Dakshinamurti to the present day gurus. And remember, recollect with gratitude the inspiration of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, Sri Ramana Maharshi, and my teacher, my guide, my guru, Sri Prabhuji. So let us slowly open our eyes. We all know what it is to act. Action is inevitable in our life, isn't it? Right from the time we are born till our last breath, as long as we live in the world, we continue to act. This action is ongoing, it is perpetual. Why do we act? What is the need for action in this world? Can we remain without action? These are some of the questions that are often overlooked. At the surface level, we are so used to the cause and effect principle in the world that we ascribe actions to one cause or the other. And so let's begin with this fundamental principle. Why do we act? What is the need for action? Now, obviously, one of the need for action from the transactional plane is to achieve our goals. our ambitions, our desires. Because without action, without effort, whatever goals we have put out in this world, it cannot be achieved. It is not enough to have goals, but if we have to fulfill those goals, if we have to fulfill the desires, if we have to achieve the goals, then you have to convert those ideas, those goals into action and achieve the results. That is one simple, straightforward answer. Now, can I invite people from this august audience who have joined in here to look at if there are any other reasons? I'm sure there are many more. Can we look at any other reason that other reasons that we need to act? You can unmute and say. Anybody?
We have obligatory duties to act, plus we also act to improve and grow.
Could you kindly repeat, Sri Jankiramji?
We have obligatory duties.
Okay.
And then we also have the action to improve and grow.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. We have obligatory duties, and we have we on the path of evolutionary process. We have to improve and grow, and so we need to in the name of constant improvement and growth, we have to act. Wonderful. Anyone else? Yes, please.
I think I'm Malti here. I think we have to, as we age or as we evolve, whichever way anybody can take this as, we have to learn definitely to get rid of any base instinct that may rise in us, like, we have to diminish our anger, we have to not have any jealousy, and we have to be better people in general. So I think that is one of the things that we have to aim at. So that's what I feel anyway.
Wonderful.
And try to be better people, in other words.
Wonderful. So in the process of action, we are trying to become better people. It's a process of improving ourselves, purifying ourselves, overcoming our basal instinct. We get out to act in the beginning for survival. That's what I think we say. But after a certain point, beyond survival, there are other things in life as human beings, and we have to get over those basal instincts, and therefore, in the process of becoming better human beings, action is a natural method or an instrument or a cause, let us say. Thank you, Malti. Wonderful.
You're welcome.
Action is also for creativity.
Action is also for creativity. Wonderful. So the mind is supremely creative. The powers of mind are enormous. It can, they say, what the body cannot do, the mind can achieve through its creative skills. So wonderful. Action is one of the means of creativity. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Great. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Prakash here.
Yes, Prakash.
Action is a symbol of life, and we need to act to basically eradicate the past karmas. Action is basically to show that we are in the existential forum or a platform.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prakash. Thanks for joining. Prakash is my good friend, my HP mate, my professional batchmate. So I think it's nice to have him here. Like it's nice to have all of you here. one of the purposes of action is to eradicate karma. That's what Prakash is saying. And we are in the existential mode. So it's in that sense, we are beyond survival. We have passed the survival stage. Adi Manava was in the survival phase, but now having gone beyond survival, we have to look at greater things like creativity, getting over past karmas, what is the meaning of existence. So for that, action is necessary. Thank you so much, Prakash. Anyone else? Is there anybody else? Let me go. All of these are all encapsulated here, and very neatly brought about. Each one of us have brought out different aspects of the need for action. So there is, apart from these survival, the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, we can say that basically at the superficial level, wow, it is raining heavily here. You can probably hear the rain as well. Am I audible? Is it clear? Or is the sound of the rain overpowering?
No, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. So
it's overpowering behind here also, because our area also it's pouring actually.
Overpouring and overpowering.
Yeah. So we're hearing, I think, maybe more around us. Yeah.
So it's a test of concentration for all of us.
Right.
All right. So one very important aspect that we have to examine here is that the cause for action, though it is superficial at this stage, the need for action is all what you have outlined. To improve ourselves, we have an obligation to overcome the past karma, creativity. These are all the need for action. But if you look at the cause, they will be actually at the very base survival. Second, to fulfill our desires or achieve our goals. And finally, at a single cause, if we can pinpoint for all actions, it would be thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So the cause is one level prior to the action, which is in the mind, isn't it? So unless a thought arises, unless a desire arises in the mind, I will not get into action. I'm happy as I am if no thought arises. I'll be still, I'll be steady, I'll be inactive, like in deep sleep. If there is no thought to disturb the base state or to come in the base state of silence. So having said that, there is one other point that we have to investigate. Can we live without action? Can we not act at all? Is it possible to not act at all? A little investigation will reveal that we are compelled to act. We have no control over actions. Now, why do we say this? Let's qualify this. Thinking also has become an automatic compulsive process. As long as thoughts keep generating in the mind, thought is a product of desire. It's an output of desire. It's the effect of desire. Then I am driven unconsciously, automatically to fulfill these desires. If we just try as an experiment, even for half a minute or a minute, to stay without action, we will soon realize that while we put an effort to being still without action, some thought will arise. And the moment one thought arises, there is a psychological action already put in motion. Now, that psychological action may get translated into physical action if there is enough energy of the will, or it may remain in the realm of psychological action, but still we act. Has there been one day in our life so far, from the day we have been born till today, that we have stayed without action? No, isn't it? So invariably, it is right to say that in ordinary day-to-day living, we are compelled to act, isn't it? Which means what? Action has become a default process. It is not by design. What do we mean by default? It is that I don't choose to act, I have been driven to act by some unforeseen, unseen external force outside of me or within me, unknown to me. I have no control. Consciously, I might decide to take rest, but if there's a customer call that is at the back of my mind, the unconscious memory will keep triggering and say, do something about this customer complaint. Isn't it? Therefore, we are driven to action. And if you look at that, our action, all our actions are at any point of time is the sum total of our unconscious impressions. As long as we have a huge stock of unconscious memory, actions are inevitable, actions are automatic, and we are driven to act in life. We don't choose to act in life. Let's try to choose one action and see. Right? I might say, I choose to have coffee, not tea. All right. But then the choice of coffee is based on memory. And that memory is based on the taste of coffee that you like, that you have drank some time back, tucked away deep in the unconscious mind. And then suddenly it comes up. Oh, when it's time for coffee or tea, then the decision to have coffee is decided by the memory of the taste of coffee that I had previously. So who is decided to have coffee? My memory, not me. And we all know spiritually that we are not the memory. That is why Adi Shankara said, Mano buddhya hankara chittani naham, nacha shrotra jivhe, nacha ghrana netre, nacha vyoma bhumihi, na tejo na vayuhu, chidananda rupaha shivoham shivoham. At one level, I say I am not the body or the mind, but at another level, I am driven by the body and mind in the form of tendencies. And therefore, where is control? Where is will? Where is design in the form of action? Is it ever possible? Have we taken action for granted? Have you ever thought action is so spontaneous and automatic? For example, we had to reshuffle the program for this week. Suddenly, something inspired that the original facilitator speaker exchanged the program with my program that is supposed to come later. Now, was that by design or was it automatic? I had no control. On the spur of the moment, I just agreed, and it also worked out for the other facilitator, and things fell in place. So really, if we look at the question of control or design, at a deeper level, it doesn't exist. Within a small framework of cause and effect, in a certain small boundary conditions, in certain transactional matters, control may be achieved. But these are very small in number, maybe 10% of our actions. But 90% of our actions, which are triggered by our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, are driven by unconscious memories or images. Because thoughts, feelings, and emotions rise automatically in the mind without our control, actions also happen automatically without our control. Now, we may say we have control, but when do we say? After the action has taken place, after the thought has risen, then I begin to say, I chose coffee or I acted like this. But that is after the event. So it's a post-mortem process. But is that real control? Not really. What is real control? As and when action is originating, if we are in a position to alter it, change it, or nullify it, then I can claim to have control over my actions, over my thoughts, over my feelings, or over my emotions. Isn't it? So now if we see that if actions are uncontrolled, do we see that in the world, actions are happening in an endless chain of events? Isn't it true? If you take a look at one action, every action begets another action. Every effort leads to another effort. You know, in the industry, in the field of supply chain or manufacturing, this is quite common. Suppose we take the case of mobile phones. Okay. Now we need plastic granules, polycarbonate granules to produce the casing of the phone. The granules is a raw material for the cover, plastic cover of the phone. But does the production end there with the production of the plastic cover of the phone? No, isn't it? Now the plastic cover of the phone becomes a raw material for the assembly of the phone. Now, does it end with the assembly of the phone? No. The phone becomes a raw material for the dealer. Does it end with the dealer? Now the dealer stocks the material, or the retailer stocks them. It becomes a raw material for the retailer. It doesn't even end with the retailer. It goes on. From the retailer, it becomes a raw material for the consumer, you and me. Now, what do I mean by the phone, mobile phone being the raw material for you and me? it is one of the means to communicate. All right. So it doesn't even end with me. If I'm happy, it becomes the raw material for another person, my friend, my colleague. So it goes on and on. Where does it end? When does it end? Can you ever decipher the end of an action in time or in a place? Please try. If you look into the world of activity, we can neither decipher the beginning of an action, nor can we get to the end of an action, because action is in a perpetual motion. And action is not linear, it is cyclic. Now I have this phone with me, this model of the phone with me. Now it doesn't stop there. After a few years, after a few rounds, I get one more desire to buy a newer model. So I go back. So where do we end? Where do we begin and where do we end the action? In our lifetime, is it possible to end the action? Now, immediately the logical answer is upon physical death. But even that is not true according to Vedanta. Because nothing ends with death. Only the physical body gets merged with the elements of creation, and the individual mind gets merged with the universal mind to recombine and get into the next combination. It becomes the raw material for another embodied being. So if we have to look at getting beyond action, we have to step out of this circle of a never-ending stream of action, of cause and effect principle. The other thing about action is, can we identify one cause for one action, one result? Is it ever possible? For example, is there one single cause for a cup of coffee to reach my hand? Can I tie one cause to me having coffee, the coffee that I had in the evening? No, isn't it? Huh? There are innumerable number of causes that helped in the coffee reaching me and then me sipping the cup of coffee. The coffee bean had to be produced. It was produced in some farm, in some coffee estate. Now, for the coffee bean to be produced, the soil, the manure, the water, the farmer, all of these were the cause. Then the coffee bean had to be roasted, so it had to be heated. So even nature provided the heat, either in terms of an oven or in terms of natural heat and light. These days it's mechanized. And there was this transport driver who transported the coffee to the city from the estate. And then there was this road layer who the truck had to come on the road. So the road was laid by the laborers. So the laborers helped me. They are also a part of the cause cycle. So like this, if we see, even for having a simple cup of coffee, which is the final result of my energy or enthusiasm or enjoyment, there is no one single cause. There are innumerable causes. And this gives rise to one important principle for every effect. What is it? If we get a little deeper, we understand that everything causes everything else. That means for me to be here, for me to exist as I am today, the whole world is the cause. There is no single cause. Things are as they are because the world is as it is. The whole world has contributed to a particular thing being as it is now. What does it mean? It means that we cannot single out one cause for one effect, one single cause for one effect. But unfortunately, what does a human being do? He will simply take credit. I did this. This happened because of me. I did this project. I accomplished this. Because of me, this project was completed. So the question of doership comes in by this illusory feeling of trying to assign one cause to an effect. If we just question ourselves, we will see that we are only one of the pieces in the entire puzzle. Without me, the action might not have got completed. But by no means I was the reason for the action. By no means I was the sole reason for the action to have happened. Now, if we understand this part, we will be more humble and filled with gratitude. Gratitude for what? For all the help that we have received in our lives so far, for what we are today. What we are today is a result of the grace that has flown in from all directions. That is why God is not a single lumped entity. He is distributed everywhere. That's why we call him Sarvantarayami, omnipresent, omnipotent, which means what? He occupies every atom in creation, every atom in the microcosm, and every galaxy in the macrocosm. So he is bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest. So when that energy is distributed everywhere, intelligently it flows to keep the entire world in a balance, and every action, including this satsang today, right now, this satsang is also a part of maintaining the overall balance in the scheme of things of the world in God's eyes. So am I the cause for satsang? No. Is anyone individually the cause for the satsang? No. Both speaker and listener have to come together. Do they constitute the satsang? No. The technology has to facilitate. So there has to be a video conferencing webinar technology. So none of these will independently make a satsang. But everyone coming together, everything coming together results in this beautiful satsang. So this is the meaning of everything is a cause for everything else. I am as I am because the world is as it is. So, what is the problem then with the interference of the ego that we normally see? We want to control actions because we are restless. The need for control indicates a state of restlessness. The moment a thought arises, I must have coffee, or I must go to a satsang, or I must go out to work. Now, rather than getting into action, I start getting into a mode of restlessness. Why? Because I want things done only in a particular way. Why is that? Because our mind is focusing on the thoughts. Our attention is going on the thoughts. Now, is there a way to make our way through without effort, without control? Yes, there is. What would it be? A very simple technique that the yogis and the sages have outlined, have recommended is just focus on the space between the thoughts. It's very easy. Instead of focusing on the thoughts, focus on the space between the thoughts. How do we do this? We practically do it. In physical spaces, we do it. Those of us who are in Bangalore, we know how crowded Chickpet is, isn't it? Avenue Road, Chickpet, Badepet, City Market area. Very crowded, isn't it? Now, on a festival day, if you go to Chickpet area, or if you go to Malleshwaram between 8th Cross and 15th Cross in the Malleshwaram market area on Sampige Road, on this Navratri festival day, when it is not raining, you will see the streets full of people. Now, will you go and bang people if you have to go to a particular shop? What do? You see people, you see number of people there, countless number of people. But how do we reach our destination, the shop that we have to go? We make our way in between people. Where is our attention? Where is our focus? Is it on the people, or is it on the space between people? So why then psychologically, internally, we pay so much attention to our thoughts and get stuck there? Because what happens when we pay attention to our thoughts? We encounter resistance. The moment there is resistance, there is effort. Right? And the moment there is effort, it tires us. We give up after some time if the effort is overpowering. On the contrary, if we just shift our attention to the space between the thoughts, then you will see that action happens effortlessly. Now, should we have to sit in a particular place for long hours to get this? In the beginning, maybe there needs to be a regular practice, but with skill, with practice, when it becomes a habit, you can recognize the space between the thoughts while in action itself. While we are eating, while we are walking, while we are shopping, or even while we are meditating, two thoughts may arise. Then instead of paying attention to the thoughts and saying the thoughts are disturbing my meditation, if I pay attention to the gap between the thoughts, I will see that that space aids in my action, which can include aiding in my meditation. We do it so easily physically that we go from one place to another in the physical space available, but mentally we don't apply the same skill because we think that is applicable only physically. Another simple example we can give. It's raining very heavily, and now if we have to go out on a four-wheeler, if we have committed to some engagement and we have to go out, step out now, what do? We step out into the car, and because it's raining, we turn on the wiper. What does the wiper do on the windshield? It goes left and right in front of us, isn't it? It's wiping the windshield. But where is the driver's attention? Is it on the wiper or on the road? Where is it? It is on the road, isn't it? But what is happening? The wiper is going left and right in front of the driver continuously. So the thoughts keep moving left and right in front of us continuously. Will the driver look at the wiper left and right? No. Obviously, he is going to look only at on the road. Therefore, it is possible with just one tinge of attention, shifting the focus of attention from the thoughts to the space between the thoughts. It's simply possible. So let us try it out right now, shall we? It is not a magic. It is not a trick. It is simple. It is simple and straightforward. All that is required is the mind to pay attention to the space rather than the mind over-focusing on the thoughts. Okay, so let's sit with our spine erect. Let's sit with our spine erect. Close our eyes. Just let us watch our breathing as we breathe in and out. Relax the whole body. As the whole body is relaxed, look at the rhythm between the breathing and the movements of the abdomen. As we breathe in, our abdomen expands. As we breathe out, it relaxes. there is a beautiful synchronization with the breathing and the movements of the abdomen. Our body is still, our mind is relaxed and silent. Now, some thoughts may arise in the mind from the deeper layers of unconscious memory. Just watch it as if you're watching from the first floor deck of your house. Like you're watching the traffic on the street from the deck of your house. It comes and you can watch it and go away. It goes away. Then there is silence. Pay attention to the quietness of the silence. If any thoughts arise, step back. Don't give any particular attention to the thoughts. Be aloof. Let it pass. And you can see the space between the two thoughts, the silence, the quietness. Let's slowly open our eyes. Isn't it easy to make our way in between thoughts, to find a place in between thoughts? And in the empty space, is there any resistance? None whatsoever, isn't it? Because there is nothing to obstruct it. Only when we pay attention to thoughts, we encounter resistance. Why do thoughts have so much power on us, over us? It is because we give attention to it. The more attention we give to the thoughts, the more power it has over us. Now, if we refuse attention to the thoughts, it will lose its grip on us. It will automatically loosen it. Now, does it mean suppressing the thoughts? No. It's just refusing to look at those thoughts. Turn away from the thoughts. Just turn away from the thoughts that are not in line, not in tune with the action on hand. There are umpteen number of thoughts that the mind generates. Psychologists say that in a day, on an average, a human mind generates 20,000 to 60,000 thoughts, anywhere in that range, every day. So, a mind is a thought-generating factory. It's a thought factory. Its job is to generate thoughts. Now, don't give those thoughts a 5-star treatment. What happens if an invited guest feels so comfortable in your house with your hosting? The guest might refuse to leave, isn't it? That's what happens to thoughts as well. Because we ourselves have given a lot of attention, a lot of priority to those thoughts. They come and make our mind their home. They are supposed to be a guest only. And what is the function of the guest? They come home, they interact with the family, perform certain duties, or engage in relationship, and then after some time leave. They will naturally leave. So are the thoughts. They are guests in our mind, in our conscious mind. Now, if we give them a 5-star treatment and they stay permanently in our house, then they will start acting on us. And what is the result? Tension, stress, worry, frustration, and all of it. And a little bit of happiness, joy, love, care. Isn't it? So, one easy way recommended in the direct path is to refuse undue attention to thoughts. So just let it pass by. Now, thoughts have their own rules. They are generated and they have their own lifespan. They live according to their rules, not according to our rules. So the moment we try to control, we try to exercise control, they will not come in the grip of our control. That's when the resistance and the conflict happens between me and my thought. So what is the approach? Step back, look at the thoughts, watch them perform their functions, and go away. They will go away naturally. Don't ever pay any singular attention to any singular thought. Let them be. If they come, let them come. And you'll find that as they come, they'll stay just for a while, as long as their energy is there. And once their energy is exhausted, they will go away. Now, where do thoughts get the energy from? They get the energy from our attention to them. The more attention we pay to the thoughts, the more energy they get. That's why if they have to go as they come, if they have to exhaust their energy, just stop giving attention to thoughts. Know that thoughts are there on their own rules and regulations, quite different from our personality, the game that we play. They have their own sets of rules and regulations. They go by their law, and they will go away. So even without suppressing the need for control, just watching, stepping back and watching, as you watch thoughts, you will also be able to watch the silence or the gap between the thoughts. So watching involves both, watching the activity and watching the rest, watching the thoughts and watching the silence. So who are you? You are neither the thoughts nor the silence, but the watcher of the thoughts and the silence. You are neither the activity nor the rest, but the watcher of both the activity and the rest. You are an audience in the theater watching the movie. You are neither the villain nor the hero. You are neither the movie nor the seat. So when we shift to that position, you will see that movie is happening externally, action is happening externally automatically by its own laws. And what are the laws that govern action? They are the laws of nature. The 5 elements combining themselves in different proportions and acting on each individual body or being to produce different combinations of action, one action perpetuating itself to produce another one in an endless cycle. So action happens by nature's law. And as a being, I am apart from this activity, a witness to these things that are happening. So a witness is one where he watches actions when actions are happening without involvement, untouched, unattached, and then silence when no actions are happening. What is the example given? When in our waking state, if I watch the actions, if I am not totally involved in the actions, but I watch the actions that are happening, then I'm watching the activity in front of me. And I'm able to take logical decisions or employ discrimination in the sense of what is right and what is wrong, and result in a particular decision. So I'm watching actions or activity or thoughts in the waking state. But then when I go to sleep, I don't have any thoughts. It's the senses have got subdued and I am in a state of rest, quietude, and therefore I'm observing quietness. I'm observing stillness. I'm observing silence. How do I know that? When I get up in the morning, I say, I slept very well. I had such a deep sleep that it was so restful. Because there was nothing to disturb the rest. No thoughts, no irritation, no emotions, nothing to disturb that state of rest. Was I there? Yes. What is the proof? When I get up in the morning, I know I have rested well. That means I must have watched the rest also. Isn't it? So the next question will come, what is the use of a person if he is unattached, undisturbed to the world? We must only pity that questioner, because that's a logical question that may come up. If you are attached to the dream, does it make sense? Suppose I see a beautiful girl in the dream and I get attached to the dream girl. Does it make sense? Can I marry the dream girl? No, because the dream girl is not a reality. Similarly, the waking state is also a wakeful dream. And if I get attached to this wakeful dream, does it make sense? It doesn't, because it's not a reality. How do I know it's not real? I will know only when I wake up from this waking dream. That means when I shift to the level of awareness. As long as I am engaged in the activities of the world, as long as I am paying attention to thoughts and actions, then this world is real for me. And what I think, what I pay attention to, what I'm engrossed in, I take it to be real. Natural, isn't it? Look at a painter. A painter is engrossed in the painting, in the process of painting. Now, while painting, the painting is very, very real. But the moment the painting is finished and the painter steps back and watches, the painter will know how good it is, what more work has to be done. How does that happen? By stepping back into a state of witness, either while painting or after painting. So the state of witnessing, the state of unattachedness should not be underestimated. Rather than dismissing it as a being of no value, it is actually a state of highest potential when exercised, leads to the highest level of discrimination or intelligence. So in that state, when we get into that state of unattached, undisturbed witnessing, when we move to the core, is it that state? From that state, is there any action? Now the thing is, how do we get to the core? How do we get to the center, to a state of witness? Does it say, just a minute, are you able to, is it visible? There was a fluctuation. Is the connection still there?
Yeah, powerhouse there.
Okay, yeah, we are visible. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so in a state of now, the natural thing is, I am attached. Now, the immediate question that will come to any seeker is, how do I get to a state of witnessing? In the state of non-witnessing, I am attached. I'm attached to the world. The world includes the world of physical objects as well as thoughts, feelings, and emotions and ideas, and also belief systems. Now, the immediate thing is, the immediate question that will arise is, in order to go to a state of witness, I must give up. I must give up. Now there is a danger in this mode of operation. What have I done in the beginning in this process? Initially, I have acquired, and then I want to give up in order to be unattached. Now, when I give up, there is a great chance that in the process of giving up, whether it's physical or psychological, I get into a state of pride. I have given up so much. You know, we used to have a very good family friend who used to ask very often, I have given up my lucrative career in order to get into social service. And today, I can proudly say that I am doing a lot of social service. What have you given up? So even the idea of having given up a lucrative career is still an attachment in the mind, subtle attachment in the mind. So what Nisargadatta Maharaj says is, instead of acquiring and then trying to give up and increasing your pride, stop acquiring, stop getting attached. When you don't acquire, you will not have the need to give up. It's easy, the process of non-acquiring is much easier than acquiring and giving up, because the moment I acquire anything, I will get attached to it, and the bond will make it difficult for me to give up. Have we seen people with pets? They are so attached to the pets. When they get the pet, they would not have pets at home. When they get the pets, initially they have acquired the pet, there is a great bond between the pet dog, the pet cat, or any pet animal at home. And they're so attached that it is very difficult for us to give up. So one is, it requires a lot of effort to give up once we acquire certain thing. And the second disadvantage is that if I am successful in giving up, I become very proud of having given up a certain thing. But I am attached to the idea that I gave up. So this is taking one step forward and 10 steps backward in the spiritual journey. So it is better to not acquire, not to start getting attached, rather than trying to detach myself one by one. So how do we do that? Question: is this a need for me? Is this a need for me? Is this of a value? Can I subjugate my emotions or the desires to a value? Is it a need now? Then if we postpone it 3 or 4 times, chances are that the 5th time you will not pay attention to it at all in acquiring it. So the process, at least henceforth, we have to be extremely discriminative in what we acquire. Of course, we have to get things that we need for our day-to-day function. But getting anything beyond that and getting attached to it is not going to be helpful on getting into a witness state. Therefore, once we get that, the witness state, is a natural process. I watch it every day in the natural process of living. So I don't have to actually look at it, forcefully do any practice to look at that living. I mean, to get into a witness state. All right. So once we are in that state, once we are at the center, now if we are unattached, the attachment is only in the activities. So then what is true action? We come back to the point. What is true action? Anything that is personally motivated is not true action. Why? Because it is better to prefer inaction to personally motivated action. Why? Because the fruits are invariably bitter. We might have achieved what we wanted temporarily, immediately, but the effect of it is always bitter. Therefore, any personally motivated action is not true action. That means what? I must get into being impersonal. I must stop being afraid of being impersonal. I am this body, I am this mind, I am this intellect, I am this person. I consider this as a personal property. I am this and I am not that. Now, the moment I think, am I personal or impersonal? At the deeper level, when I move from being personal to impersonal, then I am in the witness state. Initially, it is a practice, but later on, it is only a recognition of my own true nature. So we need not have to postpone this for the right time and the right thing. And the moment we are in the witness state, then because there is unattached observation of everything that happens or does not happen, what can be there? There can be only love. And you see actions happening automatically as a result of nature's qualities, the three qualities in nature. What are they? Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Because of the interplay of these three qualities, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, actions keep happening automatically in nature. And I'm just a witness to those actions that are happening. And when the energy gets exhausted, those actions die down. Now, truly at that center in the witness state, what is action? Action is not an activity then. Action is not an activity. External activity is only a result of reaction. True action is hidden. True action transforms. It does not change. It does not alter things. It transforms. Therefore, what is true action? It is the change of heart. Of course, externally, perceptibly, some activities may be going on, but that is a byproduct. But true action is transformation of the heart. Shifting an object from one place to another is transportation. It is not action. So, from the witness perspective, true action is transformation of the heart. And that action is hidden. It is unseen, but causes everything else. Because it is at the source of everything. It is hidden, It is unseen, it is unmoved, it is unmovable, it is unknowable. Its effect, its influence only can be known. So if one says, I acted, it is the influence of that being in a state of witness who is unattached, that is completely hidden and unknown. So staying there, being there, it moves everything. Being unmoved, it moves everything. Being unattached, it attaches to every object, thought, or idea in order to maintain the overall balance in creation. So, if we recognize true action is transformative and not transportive, and that true action is hidden, not really visible, then we will not start looking for causes. We will just be as we are, enjoying the play of the world, external world, in the form of actions of gross world, and internal world in the form of interactions of thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Thank you so much.